And probably just as soon be here in this heat. Okay, welcome everyone.
I'll be right back, Mr. Chair. Give me just a second.
We're gonna go ahead and get started. This is the weekly meeting of the Board of Commissioners. Our work session today is Monday, August 3rd. It's approximately 9:15 in the morning. Commissioner Gates, I'll be conducting with me Commissioner Jim Harvey, Commissioner Sharon Bolus to my left. First discussion and or action item is approval of the minutes for the commission work session held on July 27th, 2026.
Motion to approve.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Let's go to our 9 AM. Sorry for the delay. Sheriff's Office budget update. Julie Stoddard's with us, Stephanie Ebert's with us, Ricky Hatch is with us. Thank you. Julie, you want to take the lead?
Absolutely. So this is just a follow-up on the $400,000 savings that we needed to obtain. We're actually at 618. I do show that the gray key, the 42,000 that we used. So we're in pretty good shape. We'll actually see the enforcement savings on positions come down just a little bit. We've got a pending lateral that might flip it the other way, which is, it should be all good. So no real issues. I should have an actual number for the ACA once they get back, and yeah, we're trucking along.
Looks like you're ahead of budget
We're ahead of it.
by 54% anyway,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
How you feeling about all this?
How am I feeling about it? I feel great about it.
These are solid. You can stand behind each line item.
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for
You
doing,
know,
this is good. This is
It's
good.
unfortunate that we haven't been able to get as many experienced laterals as we were hoping. And so that's kind of boosted this, because a lot of the people coming in have been trainee to deputy. But we've got some really good young deputies working really hard. So
Great.
things are going well.
Hey, remind me again on the immigration housing corrections. Is that from ICE or where's?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. We're seeing an increased number of detentions from ICE, so.
and that's additional, that was not in the original budget?
Right,
Okay,
right,
so anything that comes in from ICE is all extra
correct.
revenue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, Commissioner Bolos,
No, I don't have any questions.
no questions? Okay, Commissioner Harvey, this looks good, keep it up,
Will do.
appreciate it, we like these type of reports.
I do have an unrelated question, so I'm gonna follow you out.
Okay. Please do.
You want to send the next ones in since we're now at 9:15?
You need 15 minutes. That's right.
Super fast. Okay.
What else has been going on, Ricky?
Oh, let's see. Not much. I hiked up. Was it Gertzner Canyon? Gertzner Canyon?
Gertson. He hiked Gertson.
Oh, Gertson?
Gertson.
Yeah.
I did go up through the full up
You did?
canyon part, but I got to the mount where you cross the spring.
Yeah,
Part.
that's a nice little hike.
Yeah, it's good.
Anytime you need me to translate German
Yeah.
or Spanish, just let me know.
It's good.
Or Florism.
Yeah. So if you want to be up with the locals up there, Ricky, you can tell people, look, I know that when the snow's off of Gertson, the runoff's done.
Snow's off of Gertson.
When the snow's off of Gertson. So if anybody asks you about runoff, there's snow up there, it's not over yet. You'll be a local.
I'll be accepted.
You will, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
With those people, Ricky.
You should probably make note of that too from an engineer's office.
Got it. So, now hold on, let me throw something else in there. And who else are you gonna ask that's old enough to know?
I'm not sure I want to answer that question.
Yeah.
Although I did meet a guy out at the transfer station.
Older than me? No.
Yeah, the
Wow.
Arnie
Wow.
Smith.
Is he still walking?
Oh, yeah, he was emptying his trailer.
All right, Thanks for being with us. This is a discussion regarding ARPA funding. Ashley Tolman right there is with us. Gary Meyer, Sean Wilkinson's not here. Not seeing. Chris Crockett, Linnell Jensen, Brooke Stewart. Okay, who am I missing? We got,
I'm here for Chris, because he's advertising.
you're here for Chris. Okay, thanks. Appreciate it. All right, Ashley, you're up first.
Yeah.
So let me start
Okay.
maybe. So we
Okay.
have some extra ARPA funds that
Right.
got. So we told everyone that got branded funds that they had until July 30th to spend them, actually June 30th
Yeah,
to spend them. The
Right.
only one that didn't spend their allotment was Powder Mountain.
Oh.
They're about 50,000 less than what they could have spent, but they didn't. But we do
tell me
have,
what did we give them money for? I forget.
The pipe.
Is that that was
It was
sewer?
the-
Yeah, okay,
and
never mind. I know
there's
now.
a couple of things on there. So, we had included Little Mountain and then the extra that they had. So certain projects we put in as our revenue replacement. And they've all spent them, except we still have 286,000 that wasn't spent from Little Mountain, and now Little Mountain's saying there's even more, so 146,000. Cause Brooke, aren't they saying they're completely done now?
Yeah, so it's
With
70
their-
of us.
We had 2 more invoices come in July, so between those 3 amounts, we're at $483,000 that need to be spent before the end of December. When I did the reports in July, they were saying we could move some of the obligated funds from one to another project. So I thought, well, the bad thing is we've already spent our revenue recovery, but I got looking at it closer. We had a little bit more option on revenue recovery that we didn't take for the year 22 because we didn't have enough money. I mean, we had already obligated it elsewhere. So I think we could actually take all of this 483 as revenue recovery. I thought the Powder Mountain 50,000 might have strings attached and have to go to another project, but in looking at it closer, I think we're okay to take the whole 483. But it does have to be spent and done by December 31st of this year. So Ashley has a proposal of a project. Keep in mind, you have your choice. It can go to a lot of places. I mean, we used the first 2 years of revenue recovery to just offset like jail expenses, I think, is where most of those got offset. So just kind of went into our account. But we've tried to use projects with these others, and Ashley has one that he thinks would be very good to use it on, so.
Okay. What's your project?
So, we're looking at widening 2550 south.
Don't tell me 2200 north.
No, I won't worry about that one.
Thanks, thank you.
But, one of the questions we get a lot when we talk about the road project is, are you gonna put in sewer? And so I talked to Scott Park years ago with the ARPA money. Hey, Scott, is this a possibility? He's like, no, all the money's allocated. So then when I knew we were getting closer to this deadline of it needing to be spent, I thought I'd, toss up another Hail Mary and see if there was any chance of getting any funds to run sewer in 2550. There's a development that's being proposed called Navy Meadows. It is off of 3300 South, and they're gonna run this sewer. Right now, the design is this blue line that runs up 4050 west, comes up to 2550 south, and then runs east to 3500, and that will be gravity sewer. So residents that are on septics, and some of these septics are failing. They're old enough, they're at the age that they aren't working as well, and so people are having to replace those. So the residents along this blue line would be able to connect to that gravity sewer when that goes in with the development. That would leave going west from the canal, needing to be sewered. The red line sewer that was put in with Mallard Springs subdivision. I didn't draw in, but there is a connection between the red line and the green that was put in with the new home there along 2550. So what I'm looking at is about 1,000 feet of sewer to tie in 10, possibly 12 homes, and we would run the laterals out before we get to asphalt, before we get to the road widening. So that in the future, when they are looking to connect to sewer, it's already out of the improvements. And so the cost on this is $250,000 to $300,000 to run this green line sewer. And so that's my proposal, suggestion, if those funds are available to run this sewer in preparation for this road widening, just to have this option for these residents. There's really no other fund mechanism we have to help people that are on septic have a sewer line installed. It's a heavy lift for any one resident to install a sewer like this. If they were trying to decide, should I put in a new septic system or just tie into sewer? And then
So
the
if
other-
you talk to the residents, because a lot of the conversations I have with people out there, they don't want to connect to the sewer. In fact, they get mad when they say, now we gotta start paying a monthly sewer fee and then the connection. So you remember some of those conversations we've had in the past. So
Yeah,
not everyone out there that's on septic wants to connect.
correct. And I haven't talked to anybody.
Okay.
I've told them, no, there's no sewer plans. I've said,
Right.
I've asked and hoped for money and there hasn't been any available. Most people don't want to connect to the sewer until they're looking at a bill for a septic system replacement.
Mhm.
No,
And then they're.
No, I
It
understand
is a
that.
different, but yeah, so it would be that old question of, hey, are the commissioners gonna force me to connect to the sewer line
Yeah,
now that it's here? And that would be another question we would have for you is, how, do you wanna handle that?
that's
the way
what
it's
they
been
don't
handled?
like.
Right, they get worried about being forced to do it,
Right.
so,
Well, and the
Instead of
other,
having an option.
yeah.
and this puts us, but I thought we were getting out of the sewer business.
Well, that's the hope, commissioners, but in this particular location, we have funds appropriated from WACOG that starting this fall, our intentions are to widen 2550.
Right.
If this area is going to get a main put in, sewer main put in for residents to connect to, now's the best time. Because we don't want to come back once the road is a brand new paved road next year, at the end of next year, and then have to rip a trench right through it and mess up that brand new asphalt.
I hate messing up asphalt.
Well, and we do too. I mean, make no mistake, the minute you pave a road, there's always an emergency, but this is one that we could probably avoid right now at this point and install this sewer line now, and then not have to come back and mess with it later on.
Gonna be done by December 15th. Which would give us 15
Yeah.
days leeway.
Yeah, I think we need to know soon to fast track this. We would separate this from the widening contract and bid. And we would just get a bidder online, in the next month or two to just get after this.
You mean month or month and a half,
Yeah, it'd be quick. I mean, it'd be quick,
Yeah.
but
not two?
But due to the amount, we would have to advertise this the way we normally
Yeah.
do, get the normal bidding process appropriation going, and then sometimes that takes 4 to 6 weeks at least.
That's a concern.
The
Commissioner
other-
Ballos, questions?
I do have a few, so Ashley did, who put this line in?
that line will be put in by the developer. It's
That
not
all the
in
way
yet.
down.
Yeah,
And this one was put in by the developer?
yes.
And who's on septic over here? All of
Uh,
this?
Yeah,
Yeah,
And this trunk line would facilitate it.
yes. So we would.
You're really only looking at these houses right along 2550.
In the
Yeah.
immediate, yes, and then we would have a manhole at this junction intersection that we would stub out of the asphalt for future connection, which would come down and serve probably up to this canal. These homes would probably come south
Right.
and then to the east of the blue line. So then you would add in about these 6 homes in the
And then
future and
you
possibly.
could, and then if you wanted to go out to 43, is it 43?
Yeah, beyond 43 would most likely need to go west
Oh,
Mhm.
to the trunk line in 4700.
If we do, may I, Mr. Chair?
Sure.
If we do this to accommodate the few, are we obligating ourselves to do more later to accommodate a
a
few
few
more?
more, that's where I was going with those questions.
That's a good question. I don't have the answer for that.
That's more of a legal question, commissioners. This was kind of Ashley and mine attempt to capitalize on ARPA money that is remaining to be capitalized
I
on.
respect that, but it's still money, still the same.
Mhm.
No, that's a
Where
good,
the money can go and the entirety of the Weber County then pays a portion of those few.
Right,
Um. I have a little area in my unincorporated that I wouldn't mind having an option.
yeah.
So I'd like to know the answer to that question. If we're legally obligating ourselves in the future by doing this, the people out there don't care where the money came from. It's government money, whether it's federal government, state money, county money, doesn't matter. So they don't care there, they don't care where the lines, they just care that what their bottom thing is. I like having options. I think your presentation, as far as I'm concerned, is good. I would support it, providing it doesn't obligate us in the future. And I would support it only because of timing. But if it does obligate us in the future for other areas, then I would not support it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
good point.
Another thought, or sorry, just as we've thought about this, another possibility would be creating a special service district where we would almost bond, as an idea, put up the money, put in the sewer, then charge the residents, either a lump sum fee or over the life of, 10 years, add a certain amount to their bill to help pay that back. So that would be another option to try to put sewer in, which would be a lot less favorable to the resident,
Right.
just as far as what options are out there.
I would be more supportive of that because whether we're legally bound or not to provide sewer to other little spots like this. It still doesn't seem fair to say, well, we have this money that's burning a hole in our pocket, so we need to do this when there are other areas that we could do the same for. Even if we're not legally bound to. I can see the argument of other residents in the future saying, well, that was paid for, but if there was some kind of a payback. I could get on board with that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and
I don't know what that looks like though, because right now you're talking about these 10 or so potential tie-ins, and in the future, you're talking about coming this way, including coming this way just in this section,
Yeah,
but the whole north side, you know what I mean? That
oh, yeah.
what that payback looks like could be divided by 10 or divided by 40.
But for, no. And I agree with that. To me, we wouldn't be legally obligated. Does it create a precedence that now you have 3 other little areas come in and say, look, the commissioners did it for this, we want you to do the same thing.
Even tying into this,
Yeah,
right, from the north or south.
so,
There could be an argument for, well, can we bring
Right.
a line down here?
no, I mean, I think there's a lot of arguments out there. Yeah, and then again, do we commit future commissions to getting back in the sewer business when, in my opinion, we've talked now for 4 years of being out of the sewer business. So,
I love that you're thinking out of the box and doing this. I think it's awesome and good for you. But I just don't, unless I go back to what I just said. I don't want to be painted into, I don't think it's fair to be painted into a corner. I love what you're thinking of, but I just want to be super careful. This will be a more expensive problem going down the road. It's $250,000 today and $400,000 or $500,000 tomorrow.
or more.
I would like to know what the cost of the project is, even if we have to put the money back into recovery for 2022, I would still like to know what that figure is when we widen the road, because it won't be near as much as 250. And recovery can go, we can make that work somewhere else. That's where I'd like to go, and I would like to see you put the sewer in when you widen the road. I think that's a smart thing to do, but I don't want to use this. It may sound funny, but I don't want to use this money to do it.
Okay, Commissioner Bowles, anything else?
Mm-mm.
So I want to bring up one, since we're talking about ARPA funds.
Mhm.
We're in a situation with moving attorneys, as we all know. Whether that be potentially public defenders or whether that's prosecutors, we're gonna have to make some type of logistic move to put them somewhere else. And during that move, there's gonna be some expense with TIs, tenant improvements, or other rents, et cetera, that could easily be spent by the end of the year. So Sean, as we're looking at a place today, so we need to we gotta make a decision probably in the next 2 weeks. By the end of the month anyway.
Yep.
As far as what, who and where and when we're gonna make the move. So it's somewhat complicated. But I would like to hold off on those are 450 based upon moving these attorneys is, you know,
lot.
gonna be
See.
part of it, but not all of it. So can that be spent on helping Weber County proper or, you know, one segment of it? I think that needs to be discussed.
I don't think it could be spent like on leases, but it
No.
could be on lease improvements.
I'm talking about
or
physical
that
improvement.
PIs,
increased
it could be
building.
spent on PIs.
TIs,
Yeah,
tenant improvements,
yeah,
ceilings, walls,
yeah.
HVAC, all that fun stuff that we like to talk about.
Mhm.
So I would like to have a work session on that, Sean.
Okay.
And then, not that I wanna kill this yet, but I think we need to look at some other options.
Yeah, no, I understand. I knew it was a kind of a Hail Mary request, but thought it was worth the effort. Thanks for everybody for, coming along for the ride and your help in this, but yeah, good points. I appreciate the input.
Yeah, if we had 4.5 million left in ARPA funding, then it probably would be a little easier decision, but. And we're getting kind of close to the end of the, buzzer here,
Yes.
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else?
No, sir.
No.
Anything else?
No.
Thanks,
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Okay, thanks.
Sean, could you do that?
Come back anytime.
Yep, we will put together our options and we will come to a work session so
Yeah.
we can make a decision.
And included in those options, commissioners, it would be exactly who moves, where, and when, just as I know. Linnell's pretty much up to speed on all that, so.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Could we buy and land bank that
By what?
old office? Or do we just lease it?
I'd have to, well, right now, we're gonna, that's Mendoza checking into it. Right now, it'd be a lease. Well, so here's one thing that's come up.
Do we want to saunter for a minute?
Yeah, if we could, that's
I'd
probably,
make a motion to saunter.
Second.
all those in favor, aye, we're
Aye.
sauntering for 10 minutes. Yeah, Sean, do you want to stick around?
Absolutely.
contract like that in my lap.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There will be someone who
No.
wants that and will do it. You're
Well-
right.
And the right?
Out by the sheriff's office.
Okay, thanks, Sean. All right, we're back in our 9:30 discussion regarding budget amendments and quarterly financial report. Stephanie Ebert and Ricky Hatcher with us. Stephanie,
All right,
I think we've got the,
yeah, so we've handed out a couple of documents. The first one I wanna look at is the single sheet, the budget changes. I've got a public hearing scheduled in the commission meeting tomorrow.
Saw
to-
that.
To go over these budget changes. The first section is just mainly health department grants. The DWQ ARPA grant that we were able to finalize and spend, and that's all good. Those you've seen before. The two at the bottom are new. I've got actual budget changes here for you to sign if you want me to include those. The first one was the impact fees that we talked about several times, to transfer those funds to Ogden Valley City for the Upper Valley Ogden, or the Upper Valley impact fees. And so that's been done. We need to, I guess, memorialize that budget. We didn't include that budget in our original budget. And then the bottom one is a new planner position to reinstate one of the planner 2 positions that we eliminated at the beginning of this budget session. I think there's been some discussion there. The amount that's listed on the budget change is just for the remainder of this year. The total amount, the annual amount, we're estimating at about $100,000. I think that we have enough in our property tax revenues that will probably potentially cover that increase. We were a little unclear about some of the boundaries when we did the budget last year. But I believe that the property taxes that are just for unincorporated would cover that planet position.
Okay.
So,
just for unincorporated, yeah,
For
okay,
for the entire year.
yes.
yeah, makes sense.
So if you're good with those bottom two, I just need a couple signatures on these sheets to put those through. But other than that, any other questions you have on any of the other, it's kind of a small.
Questions,
list.
Commissioner Harvey?
Oh, I think, thank you for doing
Okay.
this. No
Commissioner Bowles?
questions.
I have a question, Sean. I heard about the planner position
Yes.
from Rick, but I've never talked to you about that, so I'd just like your input on that.
Yeah, we can definitely use the help. Timing, whether it was part of the budget or right now, that's a policy decision that I'm not going to weigh in on that, but we're grateful for the help and we can definitely use it. This is not something that we're just asking for. There is a definite need for that help.
Though they've been struggling down there
I,
to make ends meet.
I have some historical data going back 10 or 15 years as far as number of permitting and things like that. I'm happy to share with you. But I did some research on my own on this. And I've got that just sitting right on my desk so you can see, but we're really trailing behind.
Yeah.
Bad. And I thought things would, we heard the discussion so many
right.
times when the valley peeled off.
Right.
It's not showing.
Right.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Okay, thanks. Stephanie, anything else?
So that was all for the budget changes. I also have our quarterly update on our financial reports that you've got in front of you, the different areas. We've got the general fund, municipal services, Tulsa Parks and Rec, transfer station and animal shelter. I looked through these. I don't see anything that jumps out at me as being really off as far as our percentages are really close to what they were last year. We're at about 50% of the year and we're we're right where we should be on all of our numbers. I don't really see anything that seems out of line.
Okay. So everything's tracking pretty well then.
Yep, I
Nice,
think we're doing well.
yeah. Okay, Commissioner Bowles, any questions?
No questions.
That's great. I like these financial reports.
All
Okay,
right, that's all I have.
Is that it?
today.
Thank you.
Yep.
thank you. We're back on schedule. Harvey, you gotta go.
Good for another few minutes,
Okay.
unless you want me to go.
We won't have the others until
No,
10.
Yeah, motion to see, wait, is this a work session?
Yeah.
So we're okay here. I just wanna make sure Court.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're
Wait.
now back into our work session.
Okay,
Agenda item 5, discussion regarding changes to the HR policy number 2-600 resignation separation policy. Emily Wild and our own Cortland Erickson.
very own ambassador.
Ambassador of Goodwill. Hey,
Recording in progress.
Emily.
Sorry, let me just mute this. I'm just going to show the policy on the screen real quick here. I thought I'd do that instead of print out a hard copy of the changes. Sorry, it's taking a minute here to pull up. Okay. Okay, there we go.
There we
Okay.
go.
All right, so, this is just a couple changes to our resignation and, separation policy. So it primarily, let me just get all of these things here. See if I can show you the edits here at the top, if I can see it. I'll move this over. Sorry, I should have come more prepared, but I was, let me get this, okay. Okay. Move this back up to the top. Okay. So just those things kind of highlighted in blue, or some of probably in red, are some of the changes that I'm recommending to this policy. So, again, supervisors are required to put, or may require employees to be put on paid administrative leave upon the approval of the HR director. That's kind of how we already operate. So they'll send me a notice if they want to put somebody on paid admin leave. That just gives us an idea of, so we can keep track of who's on paid admin leave, what's going on. It's usually a disciplinary process that we're going through. So we just like to know kind of who's out there on paid admin leave. And then second thing, resignation by absence. So just to kind of clarify this, as we've had to go through some of these processes in the past, there's been some, question on what do I do if, my employee doesn't show up, and how do we do that? So it's just kind of clarifying that, the supervisor shall attempt to call the employee, to make contact with the employee before we can just move forward with termination. And then if they cannot get a hold of the employee, just change it to shall send a written notice. And then after that, we changed the date here. So we had a range date of 7 to 14, or 4 to 10, 4 to 10 calendar days. And that was always kind of confusing. So we just said, okay, we're gonna say 7 days, tighten it up. Yeah.
7 days.
7 days that, we have to notify the employee if they're not showing up to work. And then after 7 days,
or they don't provide a reasonable basis for their absence, then we can consider them to have voluntarily resigned.
And it's within 7 days, so it can be the first day or the second day.
Yes, yep,
Okay.
yep. So just kind of clearing up the time frame there.
Okay, I like that.
And then just cleared up some wording, so we don't really use the term appointment, so just merit positions. You know, if they're dismissed for cause, they have to be dismissed for cause, and then they follow that policy. And then all terminations right now go through my office, so, you know, whether they're at will, you know, your non-merit or merit positions, so just clarifying that in the policy, so we know, you know, basically every person that's terminated and why, just to make sure that there's not some, you know, concerning reason or discriminatory reason or something like that. And then the biggest change is the reduction in force, and this kind of came into play when we, with the transfer station and the questions that we got with the transfer station. Now it worked out okay because it ended up being the entire transfer station. But what happens when there's only a group of employees that need to go through a RIF or other areas? And so I did some research and I came up with this, and this is very similar to what Davis County does, but it's a retention point. So if somebody ever needed to come in and reduce staff for, I don't know, 10% of their staff, or they just think that the department is over, you know, overstaffed, then it's based on retention points. So 50% or 50 points for seniority, 25 for ability, and 25 for performance. So it's not just, you know, a supervisor just picking and choosing. It goes through this retention points and ranking.
Qualification ranking.
Mhm.
What it does is it eliminates a supervisor. Or I guess it holds a supervisor accountable to be fair on employee evaluations. Because if you have to do a RIF and you're choosing someone based on their performance, well, that should show up here in the point system. And if it's an employee you really don't want there, you should have been going through those steps, right? So
Mhm.
to me, there's accountability factor here for a supervisor.
Yep, and the ability piece takes into account, so if a position requires a certain skill or a certain certification and only one person has that, then that ability point comes into play as well, so that, you know, if you need that position to have, you know, like your electricians, for example, if we've got 5 electricians and we have to do a RIF, well, those that have the required certifications get more points than those that are maybe just working on the certification. If that makes sense. That's an example. So that's the major changes to this policy, is the reduction in force and really clarifying how that would happen.
So do you put these points together or does their supervisor?
I do.
You do, okay.
Each one, scroll down, it's laid out how each one of those is calculated, right?
Yep.
Sorry, all my notes are on my laptop, I don't have it with me.
Yep. So retention for seniority.
Oh.
So you would receive 2 points
Okay,
for
pretty
every
clear.
So it's
completed
clear.
year.
Yeah, so it just can't be, this is my best buddy,
And it's, yeah, it's
Mhm.
not choosing who you'd like to stay.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I like, that's really clears things up.
So, you know, performance retention points
Yeah.
shall be based on the employee's overall performance ratings from the last 3 most recent performance appraisals.
I like it.
They're averaged and then multiplied by 5, and that gets you the 25 points. So your high performers, if they're rated appropriately, they would have more points than your lower performers. And then all of those are scored, all of those 3 scores are put together. And
And like, I
yeah,
point one thing out, under ability, it does say the department head shall assign those points, right?
yes,
So the ability criteria, the department head
Okay,
would do that, but the other two are more objective, right? Emily?
Yes,
okay, that's probably a good way to do it, yeah, I
Yeah.
like that.
yeah. And under this ability, so the department head shall assign up to 25 points based on documented job-related factors, including technical expertise, experience, certifications, licenses, education, and other qualifications relevant to the position.
And I think that detail keeps them accountable as well.
Mhm.
Like that's, you can't just choose who you want to get rid of and who you don't.
Yeah, that's-
I mean, certifications, licenses, education, stuff like that.
Yep,
Yeah.
and the department head shall provide a written justification for each employee's ability score. So
Good.
they have to provide a written justification for why they gave, Cortland 25 points.
Yeah, no,
It
I think
was-
that's great.
So,
Makes them put a little thought into it, not just, hey, who do I want to, go have coffee with every morning?
yep. And then there also is this performance retention score reduced by disciplinary actions imposed in the prior 3 years. So each verbal warning -1 point, written warning -5 points, suspension or
Wow.
demotion -10 points. So again, that, if you've got an employee who has a couple warnings, and, we go through a RIF, then that gets calculated into it as well.
Emily, looking at this, one question I had is that last sentence, the final performance retention score shall not exceed 25 points. Why is that in that paragraph? Sorry, I didn't catch that earlier.
Just because when you look at overall, the overall is 50, so performance is 25. So when you reduce based on written warnings, you're only gonna reduce up to 25 points.
Right. Cause that just has to do with performance.
That just has to do with performance.
Not ability and or senior, yeah, no, it makes sense to me.
So. And then, we'll put all those numbers together and then, so I put the employee list together, identified those with the fewest retention points, and then identify those employees that have bumping rights. So there are bumping rights that all merit employees have. So then we would identify those that would have bumping rights to move to other positions. And then determine essentially who would be the candidates for the RIF. So then it goes to the county attorney's office for review to make sure that the scoring is correct and accurate. We calculated it, and then it goes to the county commission for final approval before we do a reduction in force.
Okay, boy.
So there's kind of a some accountability for risk mitigation by making sure that the attorneys agree with how the points were calculated, then the commission approves. So. And then we prepare written notifications, which is kind of then the same. Look at the bumping rights.
Can you stop there for a second?
Yep.
I have a note on D9A. So scroll up just a little bit. What is the definition of a department? And because it says that mentions a department, bumping is not permitted across department lines. So what's the definition of a department? For example, could someone in planning bump someone in operations?
I don't believe so. It
So-
would be in planning, or like library would be library, or it would really be those specific areas.
Okay, so let me ask you this, let me ask you this. Maybe we don't want to worry about it, but if you look at an accounting position, and if there's a RIF in an accounting position, we have some departments and offices within the county that have their own accountants.
Mhm.
It seems fair to me that an accountant from another department could bump someone outside of their department if they have seniority. The same thing goes for IT. We have some departments that have their own IT. Anything that's duplicated, throughout the county, and they're not all reporting to the same boss, they're reporting to a different. Does that make sense? I'm just using accounting because I am one for starters, but we have a lot of accountants in Ricky's office. We have an accountant at the sheriff's office. We have one at the shelter. We have one at Culture Parks and Rec. If there's a rift somewhere, it seems fair to me that an accountant is an accountant. You can learn something from a different department. And if I have seniority over someone, maybe I would rather just change departments than lose my job.
Yeah, I mean, typically, when somebody switches departments, they've always had to like apply or be promote, because it's hard for me to force, like, I can't really force a supervisor to take somebody else on.
Sure.
Right,
So that's why
right.
it's been kept within the department, is because, you know, if, let's say that the health department has a RIF and they say, well, we need to get rid of their accountant. I don't know how I can just automatically place their accountant under the clerk auditor. Because then that kind of violates Ricky's option to hire who he feels like.
So
is
when you
best.
apply for, if you apply for a job that's essentially the same job in a different department, you're resetting your bumping rights, essentially.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it may create more problems to take it out of the department. I mean, even though I don't disagree with you.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying? If you're an accountant.
Yeah, no,
Shortly after I took office, an accountant from Ricky's office went to Culture Parks and Rec for a newly created position. So I don't know how long she was in Ricky's office, but you know, if Culture Parks and Rec bumps her position and she's just out of a job, even though she might have seniority over maybe a few people.
Yeah.
It's just a risky take, I guess, if you want to change the scenery.
Mhm. Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's how it's designed. Is it's based on department, just to give the supervisors the ability to hire and keep the staff that, you know, not forced to hire somebody that they might not want, I guess.
Okay.
okay, Commissioner Harvey,
Oh, that's good work.
questions
actually.
come?
I would say it makes sense to clarify what a department is though.
Yeah.
Because there will be questions about, can someone from planning bump somebody in another division
Right.
within Sean's office?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, what I just said was just came to my mind just
Yeah.
now. But my original question was, what's the definition of a department? So how many departments are under you, Sean?
Yeah, I've got, well.
One
I've got
department.
Six divisions.
Yeah, I would
under
say one department.
Correct.
One
I
department
would say
division.
everything Sean oversees is one department.
One department.
If I got asked that question.
Right,
I
one
would say that.
department, but six
Yeah.
divisions. So, and in your case, your employees could be bouncing around. You could go from planning to operations or, right? Because it's all one department.
So I would
It's
say,
interesting.
If you can't answer that, then I don't think this is clear. So
Yeah.
that's
Good
my
question,
question.
because I have municipal services employees and I have
Right.
general fund employees and I mean, there's a lot of differences.
So just the fact that you're saying it's interesting or it's, you know,
Yeah.
that, it just needs to be clear, I think.
Yeah. So would the preference be to have all of Sean's department be a department for this purpose, or would it, I mean, because that would be Culture Parks and Rec as a department. That would be the library as a department. That would be the assessor as a department. Some of them are pretty easy, right? The assessor. I mean, I assume the sheriff's office would be one department, but I know questions have come up. Maybe in
That's
other.
enforcement or
Yeah,
correction.
other contexts is enforcement, a different department of corrections. We call them, okay, I should say, I view them as divisions within the department, which is the sheriff's
And
office.
so they call them two divisions.
Yeah, and
So-
so,
That's true.
like Sean was saying, his subunits are divisions, right?
Correct.
That's kind of how we label them. And so if we say department, I think we would say one department, Culture Parks and Rec is one department. So if we leave it as is, I think that's how probably, if it came to me for advice, I would say that's how it is. If we want it to be something different, I'd say let's clarify it, or let's provide a definition here.
What's your title, Sean?
My title, Community Development Director
Director over a department.
over department, yes.
But those are divisions.
Correct.
within your
Within your
department.
Correct.
So how do you feel about somebody from planning bumping?
It depends on the position. If it's an office specialist,
Yeah,
that's, I don't think that matters. If it's a planner who is certified or an engineer with a license,
right.
that matters because you can't just bump
Sure,
certain positions.
but that's covered in here.
It does, it
Rather than
requires,
qualifications.
yeah.
Yeah, more like an office specialist.
Yeah, but if it's just a general office generalist or office specialist, those, I don't see a need
Okay.
to,
Good.
yeah.
So
Then you
Emil-
think all those people will be plugged in seniority throughout your whole department? In a RIF.
Yeah, but at the same time, I get Emily's point. It would be kind of rough to be in roads and
Right.
we have a riff in planning and all of a sudden somebody in roads gets bumped.
So then maybe that
because-
should say division then.
I think I would prefer it to say division. Just personally, thinking about the employees, I think that protects people a little bit more.
That's how I look at
That's
it.
a good point.
We got such diverse divisions that, yeah, I mean, I could see it could create some discontent.
Yeah,
But Cortland, you have something to say there.
I'm thinking about, well, and this is gonna be different for every department, right? The attorney's office, if it's division, there are 5 of us in the civil
Right.
division. What if,
It's-
you know, we've all been here, besides Lauren, 5 years or more. Reduction happens within the attorney's office. Maybe 2 or 3 have to be cut, and Chris Allred decides how to do that. Does that go? I don't know, and maybe this example doesn't make sense, but if it's division, would one of us have bumping rights over someone in the criminal division who was just barely
I think
hired?
that's my point I'm making.
Yeah.
I would argue, so I would say division more than department, and I would argue no, because your civil work is so different than the criminal that I would think that you couldn't just like your whole career has been, in civil, so for you to bump into the criminal side would be, I would think, difficult because I don't know, but versus somebody who's
Well, then
been doing that.
But I am
you can make that,
Yeah.
it's true,
As an
but,
entry-level prosecutor, I'm qualified.
Mhm.
and then you can make the decision, or you could make the argument on Q-tip.
Yep, I was just thinking the same thing.
Mhm.
He left the civil and went to,
Private practice, and then when
And
he
then
came back, he
came
got
back.
hired into the criminal division.
Yeah.
So,
so just that, those are just my thoughts. I just wanted, I guess I just want it to be clear, what's the best practice, I don't know. And what's fair, I don't know, but it needs to be clear.
Could you base it on job description? Put some language in there, I think I go back to roads. If somebody wants to come from roads and move into planning, same department, but they don't have any background.
They wouldn't
or
be qualified.
Any expert, so how do we stop that from happening?
I think it's under the bottom paragraph on the screen there. Well, the bottom paragraph on that page, the RIF employee
minimum, okay.
must meet, yeah.
So they have to meet
They have to meet the qualifications.
qualifications for the
They
job.
have to meet the minimum
Talking
qualifications.
about the general positions, like an
Right.
office specialist
that's what,
or.
yeah.
So who makes
Right.
that decision? You or?
Well, I mean, it would be in consultation with the supervisor, right? So if we have to do a reduction in force, let's say in planning, and we have somebody who was an office specialist that wouldn't be qualified for a planner, right?
Right.
Like, we couldn't take an office specialist and bump them into a
Right.
planning because they wouldn't have the minimum qualifications. So they would have to at least meet the minimum qualifications. So you could bump an office specialist into another office job or
Right.
a lower level office job, but not one that they're not qualified for.
That would be my concern.
So they still have to meet the minimum
Yeah,
qualifications.
I
of the
understand.
job.
So I guess within this room, there's not even a consensus, because you make a great example, Cortland, and Sean, yours is the opposite.
Right.
Yeah, and right now it's department in the policy.
So department would mean that Cortland could switch jobs.
Mhm.
But I'm
So
gonna
it's
agree
new.
with myself now. Because if I have a great office specialist who just happens to be in a division that's getting cut. And they're a great employee and they've been at the county for a while, and I have somebody new over here who's on probation. I don't know that I have a problem bringing that
Right.
person and bumping them. out.
Yeah,
Wendy Glass,
Exactly,
potentially.
exactly.
you may want to do that.
Yeah, I may want to. Yeah,
But the point of the policy is to take out as much discretion as we can, I think, because we want to protect employees, and so. I don't know where we land.
We want to protect good employees.
So if the procedural, we do have a definitions policy, HR policy that we may not refer to as much as we should. Maybe we ought to add a definition for department here and say what that means. That would
Yeah,
at least
I like
eliminate
that.
some of the lack of
I-
clarity that.
Yeah.
I think that
For
is
sure.
good.
And then even if you go back to. It just says qualified, but in the instance Sean just said, so if he has an office specialist who has seniority. Who's been here for a lot of years versus someone who's in their probation period. Instead of just being qualified, maybe we could take into account their evaluations and there were three things. There were. Oh, right
Seniority,
here,
ability.
seniority, ability, the ability and performance as well. If you could tie the ability and performance into that, then you'd have the ability to do that.
yeah,
Can you do that? Will you do that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I want to give some flexibility to the
Supervisors.
supervisors,
Right.
but I also am a big fan of making this as structured as we can so that no one will be targeted individually.
I agree with that.
so when you look at C, I believe it's already in there, retention points as described above will be calculated for RIF employees who may be eligible for bumping rights as described above. So retention points will also be calculated for all employees in the positions that the RIF employees might bump into. So you're then looking at those points that we calculated before when you're looking at who's eligible to have bumping rights and.
So ability would get a higher score for someone who's more tenured than it would for someone who's in their probation period. So that, I guess it's in there.
The RIF points would. because
Okay, I guess it's in there. I think we just need to make sure that there's no question on the word department.
Should we call a department? My understanding of the way it's set up right now is, Emily, you are over a department, right? Marty is over a department, Sean is over a department. Each of the other elected officials.
All the elected officials are their own.
Have their own department, and then I guess there's library and
Health department,
health department and probably a couple of others, right?
Like,
I mean.
public defenders.
Public defenders would be a department.
So there's this list of them. Do we have? like
Animal
a-
services.
Yeah, do we have kind of an organization chart that shows
Yes.
that somehow?
We do, and I think we have a meeting set up this next week, cause I wanna like review that. And then, because when I had to produce it for another thing that we were working on, and I noticed that. Like the public defenders, for example, they were not listed on there as a department, and I just wanna clarify.
Yeah.
Who is a department? Who's
Right.
department head and who is the division director. And so that's, I think, part of the discussion that we're gonna have, and then bring to you all. Just so that it's clear, because I
Okay,
think there is a
okay.
little bit unclearness on even who is considered a department head and a division director. Because the animal shelter, for example, is a division, right? It used to be a division of the sheriff's office, now moved under commission. So it's been considered a division of the commission, not a department in and of itself. So most departments are those that have divisions underneath, right? So Sean, for example, is a department head, has all of these divisions under him, planning, engineering, property management, Marty has been considered a division head and he has divisions underneath the
Department.
department head,
Department head.
excuse me, department head. And then he has divisions.
Right.
OECC.
Right.
What about you as a department?
So I'm titled a department head, administrative department head, under me is HR and IT. So that's how it's,
Division of IT, division of HR.
yeah,
So public relations and animal services, they're divisions.
they're divisions.
This is Stephanie Russell.
Stephanie Russell would be
Would be a
a division, not a department.
Yeah, she's now gonna be a division under Sean.
So, but I think we need to, just based on some of the things that we're working on, I think we need to clarify that a little.
Okay,
for sure.
see you in a little bit. Well, I think we need to have a clear chart. So especially for the new guys coming in, there's no misinterpretation of what it's a department, what's a division, who reports to who. We can go from there.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm not sure that current organization chart, I mean, I've never have been a huge fan of that.
You can say that now.
I can say
because
that.
I've heard of that.
Well, I've told him that before, but it's like, it's not a true. When I go through there, what does it really say? I think that leads itself for confusion. I think it's better. I just come from the old school.
Yeah, because you can see the levels
Yeah.
that match.
I just like,
That are equivalent.
I like the old tree chart. Just show me who reports to who.
Yeah.
Who's in this, so Sean would be there as a department, whatever structures above that, the department, his divisions, his division directors. And, I don't know, I don't think that's probably as far as you need to go.
Yeah. Well, we're meeting and discussing, because it also comes into play on which positions are truly merit versus
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
merit. And then it comes into play, with the RIF policy, it comes into play,
Yeah.
with, a couple other things that we've been working on, so.
Okay.
So it's probably good to clear that up.
Clear it up and make
Now.
it more readable and.
Yeah.
I know, I don't disagree.
Yeah, that was just that was a 6-month process, so I don't wanna throw water on it yet, but.
Yeah.
And maybe we just do this as just an alternative to that.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, it comes into play when we have to do public hearings for salary increases.
Yeah,
So-
see, and that's hard to see
Mhm.
on a wheel.
Okay, are there any other questions on this resignation and separation policy?
I don't have any, sorry, I really went off on that, but it just
No.
wasn't clear to me, and then.
no, I like it. No, I'm glad we
Made
had,
me realize it really wasn't clear.
no,
It needs to be clear.
no,
So we'll define and we'll work on defining, I think, department, even division,
Mhm.
and we can put that into the, we have a definition policy that we probably haven't updated in years, actually. So we'll work on that.
It doesn't even have a date on it.
Oh, yeah, so it's pretty old, but we'll work on that, but right now in the RIF policy, it's based on division, or not, excuse me, department. See,
Well,
I can't even.
maybe what we should do is we revise that chart, we attach it to this.
Yeah.
Just as an addendum.
Yeah.
So that if anybody questions
For
it,
sure.
so that nobody can question what the intent was when it comes up 5 years from now.
Mhm.
Now, that can be changed, but right now, for this, they'd have to change this
That's a
policy.
good idea.
Yeah,
So I like things as clear as possible like that.
okay,
Okay, what
all
else?
right. That's it for this policy.
Anything else?
No.
Cortland?
No, I think those will be good changes.
No, I like it. Great work, by the way.
Okay,
Okay, thank you very much. Sean, you have anything else?
I don't, thank you.
Thanks for your input.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your department's the most relevant, I think.
It's
Just
a-
because
a
it's so
strange-
big,
Yeah, it's big and
And
it's
so it-
diverse, yeah.
looking at that helps us understand what things look like.
Yeah.
okay,
All right, thanks, you guys.
Thanks, appreciate it. Thanks, Cortland.
I think,
You see Lauren out there, tell her she's welcome to come in.
And Craig, he's there.
And then I am,
You're scheduled for 10:45.
Agricultural protection area. Do you know anything about that, Sean?
Yeah, we have, or we may start having more agricultural protection areas coming in to the county, and that process, I think, is what we're discussing today.
Okay. That's allowed under state code, right?
It is, yep, it's the county has a role, but it's
Yeah.
really state code driven.
Right. Okay, Mr. Craig, welcome. We're now at our 10:15 discussion regarding agricultural protection area. Craig Brandt. Lauren's not here.
Lauren's, she's right out in the hall talking to.
Okay. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna, how do we share a presentation?
You have to join the Zoom. meeting.
Oh, are you on the Zoom?
no,
So we've had word of increased desire for APA, agricultural protection area.
From who?
Mostly West Weber and some of the valley, but the valley will probably fall into OVC's jurisdiction.
Yeah, say, we shouldn't have too much in unincorporated up there that we do that.
No, but yeah, I could see us being asked to assist
Oh, yeah.
on the process.
Yeah.
If you wanna get on the Zoom, I'll send this to you.
Yes, but I'm not even gonna-
Oh, it's gonna die, okay.
I mean, I have that idea.
So we want to walk through, and I apologize, I didn't know we had to join Zoom to share the,
I can send you the link.
Yeah.
Can you do that?
yeah, some of them. So we want to walk through what's APA. It's been a long time since we've created one in the county. It's been over a decade, actually.
Been that long?
Yeah, since we created. We've done removals.
So I've seen some removals come.
We've
about.
done removals. We haven't created an APA.
Yeah, okay, started new. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
So we kind of want to walk through the code, walk through the process.
And then there are a couple of things in the ordinance that we wanted to get your thoughts on, just maybe some changes. That
Okay.
might make sense, so.
Got it.
There we go.
While Craig's pulling that up, Lauren, can you go over with the commission, some of the property owners, like where they're at that have been requesting it?
Oh, actually, Craig probably knows more about that
Okay.
than me. So I went to the Conservation District Board meeting 2-ish weeks ago. Because the state was presenting on APAs, and so I just went to kind of get a better understanding of them in general. And there was a lot of mention that, yes, people in Western Weaver, honestly, kind of surrounding where the highways is being contemplated, that are hoping to have their land put into these areas. So that's kind of the biggest area. I
Oh,
guess.
so that's kind of what's pushing this?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay,
yes,
I thought you'd like that.
now I get it. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we're up. And we don't have specific names yet, but it is that area that's seen a lot of desire. In fact, they're ready to go to apply as soon as they can.
Okay.
So part of that is, again, getting underneath our feet a little bit with what the process is and how to run it. She had mentioned that state agriculture, Thane Mickelson had come and done a presentation to kind of get us going on how to approach the process, what the code requires. And so we want to walk through that with you today. So APA, what is it? It's agriculture protection area, designated geographic area created under specific legal statutes to protect agricultural activities. Things like the odors, sounds, dust, things that are associated with farm work.
Yeah.
People can't complain, file complaints or lawsuits against parcel that's under APA. So there's a list of protections there. There's zoning stability, land within APA cannot be rezoned without consent from the landowners. There's eminent domain limitations. restrictions on transportation corridors and other state projects that they must minimize, eliminate detrimental impacts on agriculture. And then disclosure for new developments. We've often seen new developments be thrown up and people complain about the agriculture activity next door to them that they moved into.
Yep.
Who can apply for APA? Landowners with agricultural operations. And you can have multiple landowners, and that's most often what we see. The APAs we have currently are multiple landowners will come in and create one large APA with multiple parcels. And then minimum acreage, right now, our ordinance calls out a minimum to match greenbelt, to align with greenbelt acreage. We are proposing a reduction in that to 2 acres from the greenbelt 5.
Why?
Just in case there's parcels that have been divided over time in an area that people can still have the benefit of APA, even though their parcel is smaller than what may have once been.
And I will say, I was trying to figure out why our ordinance calls out greenbelt, because state code just requires the legislative body to set the minimum continuous acreage amount. So I'm not sure, I couldn't find anything about why we had chosen to do the greenbelt in the past, except maybe that it's just a fluctuating number that would just fluctuate with state code, but there's no alignment necessarily with greenbelt as it pertains to this statute that I'm aware of.
Right. Well, the reason they probably did that is because they look at 5 acres under greenbelt being the minimum
Right.
that anybody could actually actively produce agricultural revenue from. With 2
Revenue.
acres, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So, and to me, this is an agricultural, and I'd have to, they changed the state code on this. The
For
last-
greenbelt?
Yeah, on, no,
Oh,
Oh,
APA?
on the APA.
APA,
No, it's always just been to have the legislative body set that minimum
Okay,
continuous acreage. Yeah.
and so, question on eminent domain, so is UDOT or the state exempted out under eminent domain in this or not?
You can't entirely exempt from eminent domain. It just requires certain steps to happen before eminent domain can
Okay.
be exercised.
So this actually doesn't stop UDOT,
Yeah.
that'd be some,
Yeah, really hard to stop eminent
Yeah.
domain, but it
Okay.
just creates like some
It
requirement.
requires a series of, they
Yeah.
have to prove that they've looked at alternatives. and-
Okay.
And show that they've looked at those
yeah,
alternatives.
see, I can't believe the state would pass that
No.
takes
Yeah.
UDOT out of the picture.
Yeah, yeah, eminent domain would be really hard to.
Yeah,
you-
okay.
It's going on in Heber City right now.
Create
with
Yeah.
The bypass that they're
Yeah.
trying to build there. and
Right.
A lot of landowners.
Yeah.
Last minute APA application and UDOT's crying foul.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that'd probably hit the courts before too long, or, yeah, okay.
Okay. So APA proposals are reviewed by the Planning Commission and an APA advisory board. And that advisory board is comprised of no more than 5 members from the county's Conservation District Board. They are aware that this is coming. That was the meeting that Lauren had attended with State Agriculture's presentation on APA, was at the Conservation District meeting. So they're aware this is around the bend and coming pretty quick.
So do we have an advisory board?
No, that's what, one of the actions that we need to take is to stand up an advisory board,
Okay,
and that would be through a resolution. And it would be comprised of the members of the Conservation District Board.
so it is the Conservation District. Board.
Yeah, so it's no more than 5, but they have to come from the conservation district, board,
All of
which
them?
I believe is a 5-member board,
It is.
so
Mm.
it would be
All
the whole board.
So it's basically that board,
Point
Yeah.
less than that, we would need 3 for a quorum,
okay,
at least 3. So it would maybe make sense to just appoint. the
So to meet
board
state
and then
code,
have
we need
some
the
people
board.
to Work with.
okay,
Correct.
makes
Yeah.
sense, all right,
Mhm.
Okay. There was something I just want to mention, that the advisory board serves without salary, but the county legislative body may reimburse members for expenses incurred in the performance of the members' duties. And then the board shall evaluate proposals for the establishment of the relevant protection areas and make recommendations to the legislative body about whether the proposal should be accepted or not. And then also provide advice to the legislative body and the planning commission. So I want to walk through, this is kind of busy, sorry, but the creation timeline for the APA. First, we received a proposal, and so technically state code says that the proposals are filed with the county legislative body. In the past, the clerk's office has always shepherded those proposals.
Yeah, right.
And we were proposed to continue to do that. If that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll receive them. We'll give them to the GIS office to verify that the parcels are in fact unincorporated. And then once we do that, we'll send an invoice and then receive a fee from the applicants. After we receive the fee, we'll do a Class B notice for at least 15 days per state code. During which window the objections against the proposal or requested modifications to the proposal would be submitted during that 15 days. So after that 15 days is up, the proposal is then referred to the Planning Commission and the APA Advisory Board for their 45-day review. They can take less, hopefully, but they have 45 days to do their review and provide their recommendation for either accepting and modifying, or rejecting.
Okay,
And after that, the legislative body will schedule notice and convene a public hearing. And after it, assuming it's approved, if it's approved, then we'll, and that has to be done within 120 days of submission. The county's legislative body decision has to be within 120 days of the submission of the proposal. And then if it's approved, then we file with the recorder's office within 10 days of the creation. And then we send a notice to State Ag and Food Commissioner within 10 days of the reporting, and we're done.
got them. So legally, we can't record any of these protection areas until we have the advisory board.
Yeah, so the advisory board and the planning commission would review both proposals.
Right.
Review the proposal.
So we haven't been doing it right,
Yeah,
according to code.
well, in the past, we had done it right.
We have,
Different. The
We-
removals are different than
okay,
the creation.
so
We don't need
we
it.
haven't had any applications to put in since
2000.
since we had this process.
Yeah, it's been
Okay.
over a decade since we've had
Okay.
an application.
So the areas last for 20 years. And then at 20 years, they're supposed to be brought before the
Got it,
legislative
okay,
body for approval
right.
again, or if you don't, it just continues for another 20.
so it automatically
It's
renews?
an
Automatic
automatic
renews.
renewal unless legislative body takes action on it.
Mm.
Yeah.
But the landowner can request they take that off at any
Unless the
time.
landowner
Yes.
comes in to remove.
And any landowner within an APA that has several
Right.
parcels, if they want to remove their parcel, they can remove that.
Right,
that one
yeah,
parcel.
we've done that before.
Yes, yeah,
Okay,
okay.
all right.
Any
What
questions
else?
on it? Okay, and then some of the actions. We talked about the clerk's office continuing to shepherd the proposal through the process, and I think we're in agreement on that.
I'm okay with that.
Okay. We talked about minimum APA acreage.
So yeah, that can remain, right now in our ordinance is written into match Greenbelt, it can change to be whatever.
I'd like that
propose it to be.
proposal to come out of the new our advisory board
Okay,
rather
The
than us.
recommendation,
Yeah, the recommendation,
Them
Agree.
put together.
I
recommendation.
agree.
yeah,
I like that.
There is some.
we're gonna do a
wisdom in
board, make
having
them do
it-
some work.
There is some wisdom in having it run with the state code definition of greenbelt, I think, because it just, I don't know.
Yeah,
well, the two are separate processes, separate impacts, but I guess.
Sure, but I just
But-
think it.
but the advisory board should be the one making
Yeah.
decision on acreage, since they'll be the ones evaluating those applications.
It is the legislative body and code that has to set it, yes.
Yeah.
If yes, with the recommendation.
Yeah, they're a recommending body, but no different than the planning commission.
Okay, we'll take that to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, it's set up.
We do have an existing fee schedule on the books
Okay.
for APA, but it's a little outdated. It's $100 per application. We are proposing $300 to cover the first 5 parcels and 25 for each parcel after that.
300 for the first 5, okay,
Or so minimum 300,
yeah,
and if
Right.
we exceed 5 parcels, it's a little bit more.
so if one landowner had 5 tax IDs, they'd pay 300.
Yeah.
Got it.
So that includes reviews from GIS, us, the recording fee and legal review.
You think that's enough?
I think
Covers?
that's minimum, yeah.
Okay.
And then advisory board staffing, there's state code about assigning somebody from staff to, is it for the secretary of
It's
the?
in our ordinance, actually.
Oh, is it ordinance?
Yes, to have have somebody appointed to be the secretary for the advisory board. And that would be your decision
Okay,
as to who would staff that.
okay, all right, so probably commission office,
Yeah.
somebody here.
Probably.
Similar boards, it's Stacy.
I was gonna say, it sounds like Stacy just took on another board.
So.
I know, I feel that.
Okay,
Okay. Okay, and we'll, Commissioner Harvey asked that we brief him, give him the same,
Yeah,
and we'll do that with him. We just want to make sure you guys were aware and that, we can get rolling on. So we'll have an ordinance markup and a resolution, for the board itself.
And I
Okay.
guess depending on the timeline, the ordinance will take longer just because we'll need the recommendation as well, so,
Yeah.
yeah. We will keep you informed of the timeline just when everything's ready.
okay. So what's this schedule for setting up this, notifying the board that they're now an advisory board as well?
Well, we need to get the resolution passed before we can technically say they're an advisory board, so.
Okay.
we'll
Yeah.
Probably do that first.
But we can reach out to the district.
Yeah, you might
Just
want to let them
know.
know this is come, I don't want it just to be a surprise.
No, they know,
They know about it?
yeah, they know, well, that was their meeting that we had the presentation.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They've discussed APA.
All right, so
in their
this is
meetings.
not a surprise to,
Yeah,
No.
they're probably, they won't be surprised when they're.
Okay.
contacted.
No, we asked state to go to their board meeting and give that
Okay,
presentation,
good.
so.
great.
Um. In the meantime, so what we're doing for the people that are applying. We want to eventually have an online portal that's being put together right now, but it won't be ready for maybe a month or so. In the meantime, we have a fillable PDF form for the applicants to fill out and turn in, that get the ball rolling on
Okay.
APA, so.
How many applications do you have?
We don't have any as of yet, but they're imminent.
Okay,
Yeah, so I'm gonna get the form out to them this week and make that available. So I would assume probably in the next couple of weeks, we'll start seeing.
okay,
Which means they'll probably be under the old fee schedule until.
That's adopted.
Until it's adopted.
Mhm.
okay. So how soon can that be on our agenda?
The fee
Next
schedule?
week?
We could update a fee schedule really easily if we just wanted to limit it to that change in the ordinance to start. Yeah.
So we
Have
can
to have
fee
a first
schedule
and second
change.
reading. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
That
change the
makes
fee
sense. I don't think
schedule.
we wanna wait on that. We know that needs to be adjusted.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we know that's too, because it's $100 now.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'd like to get that adjusted as soon as possible.
Okay, yeah, we could start with that easily
Yeah,
and
I
get
can
it on
work
as
that
soon
out.
as possible. Great.
And then a resolution would create the advisory board and just basically define it as the same members.
Yes, yep, and
With-
our
With the matching
Our
expiration.
ordinance currently has their, their expiration
Okay,
matching
yeah.
the conservation board, so they'll just,
Sure.
when they're on, it'll expire. Yeah,
perfect.
All right.
Let's get the fee changed and then we'll
Okay.
work on,
fee changed, resolution,
Resolution.
appointment, and then the rest. Okay,
perfect.
Great, thank you.
great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Right back.
Okay.
Want me to send them in?
Yep, whenever they're ready. I think we know what this is gonna be about.
Meaning this.
You're back.
She bosses him around.
I was like, she's over the chief. She's the chief's chief. No, they were out there, he was trying to, like her car had died or something. And he was out there trying to.
Wow,
What's going on?
again.
Age, we are your favorite.
Went out there and
Attorney's
showcased he had a
favorite squeaky
jump-started
wheel.
white
Oh,
car.
say, boy,
It's like
Just a squeaking away.
You know, it's like Groundhog Day. Every time I turn around, you two are in my office. You're all usually talking about the same subject.
Yeah, that's true. That's,
We're a one trick.
we are
pony.
the classic squeaky wheel.
I'd rather talk to, right?
Hopefully it's
Yeah, who else you gonna talk to?
somewhat pleasurable. Although I keep thinking, I don't know if you watched some of that news on that Idaho
Yeah,
shooter, the guy with the AR that just kind of went after everybody at the In-N-Out shooting. And the guy who engaged him was kind of a firearms guy who,
Yeah.
he'd put who's always training and doing, is like, this guy trained his whole life for this one
For that one
moment
moment.
to go after.
Hey,
You know, this guy.
you won't begrudge me a,
No.
Did
Help-
he like,
help yourself.
did he help take him down?
I don't know if he actually shot him. I don't think they've ever released sort of detail. I think the guy shot himself.
the guy shot himself, but supposedly he engaged him enough that at least he redirected his fire.
And that's almost half the battle, right? I
Yeah.
remember there was a article like years ago where they did this study at the University of Texas, and they ran this sort of school shooting scenario a number of ways. One was
gun-free campus, nobody can have guns, normal response time, how many people could this person with a paintball gun shoot and kill? Dozens and dozens, right? And then there was the, campus security, and then ultimately to the random person who might have, a gun to fire back in the class. And by far, just having somebody who had a gun and simply threw shots at that person to make them think and
Yeah.
to slow them down and to give people a chance to run and escape, by far saved way more lives.
Yeah.
Like it was like not even close,
No,
and stuff. And that's,
The trolley square shoot.
oh yeah,
Years ago.
and Hammond.
Yeah.
That's why I changed what I carried to match what the officers carried, because his problem was he had like a Kimber 45 and he goes and engages this guy and he has like 7 shots in his gun.
right.
And so he's exchanging and he's just trying to like throw a bullet or two at him just to keep him pinned in a location for the Salt Lake officers to arrive. But even after they arrived, he described, well, it's not like I could be like, strip off a few rounds so I can reload here. They go, they're carrying completely different calibers,
Right.
and stuff. So he just had like, I think maybe said like 1 left in the 2 when he ran in, and he was with the other officers, and that was just it. He was gonna have 1 shot.
One bullet, that feels bad. That's like when you have a bad dream, when you're out of ammo, bad thing is gonna get you.
So it's like, but this is what you had to do in the moment. You're just like, oh my gosh, well, to know that in the moment, to realize I've got 1 shot left, but we're gonna do this. Like, wow,
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Oh,
but that's what, that kind of
saved
training.
quite a few, had potential to save quite a few lives.
Yes.
up in
Yeah.
Idaho.
Because all those people trapped in the drive-through could have just walked up car by car.
The guy was shooting an AR.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some videos where he just basically walks up with an assault rifle right to the windshield of this, I think it was Tesla, and he just right through the front of the car. And then, turns around and just kind of wheels and starts walking around.
Oh my
And
gosh.
somewhere in there, and that guy was, I think, in the drive-through, heard the shots, ran to his trunk, got his gun out,
Oh, yeah.
and kind of ran out and started
Yeah.
throwing rounds in his direction, so that it would force him away from a lot of those people,
Yeah.
which,
It's crazy.
it's amazing,
No, all right,
for that.
gentlemen, we're now at our
Point of time.
10:45 attorney office updates. Miss Chris Crockett's not with us, but Chris Allred is, Brandon Miles with us, Stephanie Ebert, Emily Wild. We have everybody else with us. So Chris, you or Brandon?
Not waiting for Commissioner Harvey.
No, he's gone to a funeral.
Did his place burn down?
No.
Oh, good.
He still has fires he's putting out.
All right. Well, listen, yeah, we'll hopefully then not take too much of your time. This is, we met with you, of course, back in May and provided a big thorough presentation at that time. And we gave you the charts and the graphs and the data and all of that. And so hopefully that's still somewhat fresh on your mind. I won't try and repeat all of that right now, revisit that exactly. And then I sent a follow-up email in June where I pointed out some real life examples of some of the problems facing our office, as well as our colleagues' prosecutors' offices. For instance, in Colorado, we're seeing prosecution offices with literally up to 50% vacancies in some of the counties there. And other states are simply dismissing large amounts of criminal cases because they just don't have enough prosecutors to handle them. And really, at the end of the day, I think it's just a market analysis. At some point, attorneys will come and work for the amount of pay that they'll work for. But right now, it's kind of gotten out of whack. But so the problem is real. And I also pointed out in that June email, if you recall, that the AG's office had just done a big wage increase. They're experiencing the exact same problems we are. And they had done a big wage increase just right between May, when I had spoken with you, in June. And since June, they've sent out 6 job openings, and they keep including our prosecutors. They send out a mass email and send them to all our people.
Right.
Yeah, and so they've sent out no fewer than 6 job openings just since I sent you that email in June. So now we have all of that pending, and we've got our physical relocation coming up. And I hope you have perceived we're trying to be really good team players there, not pushing back, trying to do our best to make this thing
work as well as possible, and we'll continue to do that. We know it's got to happen, and we're gonna, handle it as best we can. But we're starting to see some cracks in morale. They're starting to get to that point where we're seeing, hey, we're being paid less, and they keep asking us, well, when are we moving? Where are we moving? I'm like, just be cool. It'll work out well. And my concern is, as you're starting to see those little cracks, and when we start packing up, it's going to be just as easy for some of them to unpack at the AG's office or somewhere else if they don't feel that we're looking out for their best interests or doing something to get them up consistent with their colleagues. So we're gonna ask today that we might be able to look at implementing the raise portion of the ask that we made earlier as soon as possible, and that there are some funds that could take care of that. And I think if we did that, if we're able to, it would be a huge shot in the arm to our people. It'd be a huge morale boost. And I think we could keep all of them, and losing any of them right now would be a disaster. And I think we can avoid that without any additional real imposition on the county. I'll let Brandon talk a little bit more about that and how that.
Now, we're just talking about your attorneys, not your staff. We took care of your
Yeah,
staff.
we took care of them
Yeah,
out of that.
a couple weeks ago, right?
Out of that
Okay.
budget savings that we already had.
Right,
So we're
okay.
gonna have to
Yes.
increase
Got it.
everything.
Yeah, we're pointing to the attorney generals, at least as a start. They're not solely it, but our last attorney, Stephen Lee, left for a position at the attorney general's office. We still see him in our court because he travels around for them to go to court for them now. They start, here's two of their printed out openings, 61.08 an hour, and here's even their wage scale where they start people out at that, and they have 4 current openings, 4 attorneys in that position. And so that's why we feel like the need is pressing, because we've already seen an attorney go to them to make, and just kind of put this.
That would be for the new increase, in fact.
And so they're making 61.08 an hour, and that's for a person who might come out of law school, take the bar here in October and start, right? I have 6 attorneys. 61. I have 6 attorneys in my office with more years than that are making less than that. They have not even broached that. So 6 of our attorneys are making $7 an hour less than the starting rate at the Attorney General's office. Overall, 16 of our attorneys are making below the published salary of their AG counterpart and stuff. And so we feel like that's, more than half our office that is below their grade.
You call Derek Brown and say lay off for a while.
Yeah, well, the problem is I think they can't get the people to come for what they're paying also, because they're still having the openings and stuff. So they're not slowing the attrition. I think.
So Derek's under the same pressure you are, just in a different.
Just have more money to.
Yeah, and that's in fact, that's exactly why he implemented those raises recently.
the-
And as we point, it's across the board. It's
I
not
think
just us.
It's a statewide problem.
They all go into private practice? What's?
There's a huge drain to
Lot
private
of going to
practice.
private practice,
So-
making more money in private practice now than they used to.
They get the same benefits in private practice. They get increased
One of
salaries.
the big selling points. We got all these,
Yeah.
they're giving them the benefits there now too, and more.
Yeah,
I don't
and
know how they
so-
do it.
You're getting an increased demand of government attorneys for a smaller supply. We spend more time stealing from each other than we do.
We literally
for
do that. The only
attracting
way
new
we get
people.
qualified attorneys anymore is by poaching them from somewhere else.
Okay.
And most of our recent hires have been from other offices and stuff. And so we all sort of do this. And our fear is when we get so far behind getting somebody to come to the county, let alone keeping what we've already got. And what we feel like we've got are some really good folks, some really strong folks that we really want to make sure we take care of them so that they don't go anywhere. And just like Chris said,
Yeah.
if they're in the middle of packing and there's these positions open, well, I can unpack for 15,000 more in Salt Lake.
Yeah.
And it's not that big of a commute for some of them. And so we're trying to keep that, at least equitable amongst them, and even from our own pay bands and things. We noted there was probably 18 of 25 attorneys below kind of even the mid-grade of the pay band that we published for the county, and they've been here, many years to sort of be at that full competency point. And so the same kinds of things we talked about with the legal assistant, only I think it's more acute with the attorneys because we simply can't replace them.
Good
Yeah.
news is our overall ask that we came to you with previously, it's actually after we've gone through each one line by line, it's actually a little bit less than what we thought it would be total.
think-
So,
So I think what we're asking for today is, until the fifth sort of income starts coming into the county, I guess in October, is about 63,000 at most. That's if we actually had 4 full paychecks of the increase right now of one-time funding to get us to the point where that is replaced with the ongoing funding of the tax increase. But it could be less, because if this, we're already in a pay period, so by the time this actually got implemented, we might be down to 3 pay periods instead of 4, so it could be.
So the 63,000 gets your people covered that you want to cover for four pay periods, up to the time that the fifth roll in, which we anticipate would be October.
That's when we'll get our first check.
That's my
I thought
understanding.
that's when it was implemented.
Well, we implemented it, so July 1.
I thought it was collected the quarter after.
It is, but we went in July, that's why we did July 1, so
So.
right now, we're in
not
the
a full
quarter that will,
after.
we're collecting it right now, we just don't get paid until October.
I think,
Cause then you do it in
yeah,
June.
I'm understanding that, so as long as we had it implemented before July 1,
Right.
there's a 1 quarter lag.
Right.
So the next quarter, which was when we should be again receiving the funds, is October.
Receiving or collecting?
I think receiving.
Receiving.
So they're collecting now. That's not what I
What, no-
understood. I
No,
thought we'd start collecting October 1. And
well, even so, even if we start collecting, we accrue back the first 2 months of
Right.
the following year. So first 2 months of 2027 will accrue back to 2026, which would cover that time period that we're looking at.
before the new budget.
Mhm.
Yeah, whatever basis they use is that the payments start October because they're actually taking account, or whether we call it collecting or whatever that 2-month lag is taking place because we implemented it prior to July 1.
Right.
So-
That's how I was interpreting it.
Yeah,
So that's what I'm anticipating is gonna happen.
well, that's what was
Yeah.
promised, and that's basically what the revision in the state code said.
Right.
So I'm assuming we're okay with that.
Yeah.
Now, we don't, but all we know is the estimate dollar amount, which may or may not be, but I don't think it would be substantially less.
Right.
So,
Yeah, we're anticipating that additional 3 million a
Right.
year. This change that the county attorney's office is proposing would have an annual price tag of just over 400,000.
okay,
So,
beginning in 2027.
well, a full 12 months,
Yeah,
yeah,
Got it.
would be 410,000 for the whole year.
right.
And so then just this portion, that they're looking at the gap between when we start receiving the fifth dollars and now, if we were to implement it this, say, the next pay period, we're looking at, that's where that $63,000 gap is, and that's with benefits,
Right. And if it's a 400,000 for the entire 12 months,
right?
then basically divide that by 4.
There.
So we'll call it 100,000, then would have to come out of that, if we dedicate it, would come out of that first quarter of the fifth.
Right. And I think, a suggestion or a possibility, for the gap that we have. We talked about, Emily and I, talked about the decrease in the URS contribution rates that happened last pay period.
Right.
The impact on the general fund was over $200,000. So just for 6 months, the last 6 months of this year, we should see a savings of 116,000. Just in the general fund, which I think we could use to cover this gap for the attorney's office, if that's,
Okay,
if you're okay with that.
yeah. So that would be your suggestion, to take it out of that
Mhm.
decrease?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's, yeah, I think that would work.
I can't think of a better spot to tag it. Okay. Emily?
I just have, I don't know if you guys wanna see kind of the list of what we're looking at. There was one change, so maybe,
I incorporated it for Barbara and
and
Colin and Brandon.
we need that,
Yes.
that's got the Barbara.
It's
and
got
Brandon.
Barbara, but not Brandon's. The
Okay.
nine,
Yeah,
I was 9 cents off on
I've
Brandon.
seen this before for some reason, but.
Yes.
So there is one more small change. Brandon is on there. The numbers were transpired, and then the two chiefs on there do need to go to a public hearing.
Yeah. Okay.
Ian Crockett, yes.
So do you think these numbers do what you intend, what you say it will in terms of,
That should get us.
I mean, is it buy you the time?
Yes, and in terms of, again, when we showed you all the numbers and the data and stuff, this will hit all those points that we talked about. This will get us back on track. And not only that, but by putting it in the proper places in those bands, that should keep us on track going forward, which has been a problem in the past. So it's a big chunk right now, but we think that's going to put us on track for long term.
Unless the market shifts, but we're just kind of having to pay attention to where that's going, but.
Right.
But I mean, we had done an analysis that basically the yellow band is us. And we're always just kind of skirting below the average of the market, which is the blue band,
And that's all government?
all government. This is all major counties, AGs, sans Weber, which is in the yellow. And so we're trying to get us into that. And you can see the lower gap, the lower end is where the big gap is, and then sort of the higher.
Yeah.
In the middle, we start to cross a little bit, but then it starts to widen again, and then.
So if we were to prove this, how soon do we implement it pay wise? We looking at one pay period before it goes into effect?
Because it wouldn't be this one, but it wouldn't be.
I mean, I put the date of 8/1, this
We
new pay
could go
period
back. We could
was
go back.
Saturday,
Oh.
Yeah,
so
starting today.
Okay.
we could, yeah.
We'll take whatever you give us, this one, next one, whatever.
I do just want to point out, I don't know if this is the right time, but obviously Jim Retallick is gonna, maybe that the public, you know.
No,
So then it's gonna want to transfer to him as well, and he's gonna be here asking for increases, so just
And other departments,
thinking about that.
right? I mean, because nobody was brought to the. When we did the pay adjustments across the county, everybody was brought to the low end, right?
Or 2%.
Or 2%. So really, this is gonna cost millions throughout the county. When every department comes and sits before us.
I mean, there are a significant amount of people who are not at the midpoint of the range. Right, because we couldn't move everybody to the midpoint, or we couldn't move them based on, years of service because of the cost. So we moved everybody so they were at least on the new pay scale, plus they got a 2%. So will others? I don't know. I mean.
I think the
I
issue
think-
of the public defender, always asking for parity with the county attorney's office, that would be the one that I would think is the biggest argument right now, and he will come.
And by the way, maybe I just throw this out there as a consideration right now. It might be time to look at this experiment with the office down there and see whether it's been a good experiment or a bad experiment, because I think in looking at this, you could pay those guys the kinds of contracts they're getting in Davis County, give them very good contracts. They would be happier and probably make more money. So just throwing that out there as a consideration.
that's actually on the table.
Might even be,
Has been.
it might even be cheaper.
No, and yeah, I don't see, the only ones that are gonna probably kick up a storm would be Retallick, and I'm prepared to probably not have a real long discussion with that, because I think,
I don't even think it stops there.
you know,
Because everybody in the county knew that we weren't bringing everybody up, we weren't considering years of service. That's not a secret. So if we're considering that in one department or office, then it's gonna go countywide.
May I just suggest on that too? I totally understand what you're saying and I get it. And there's some That's absolutely fair to an extent, but I would say evaluate each office on its own merits as they come to you. Is there a real problem in terms of the market? Can they still operate effectively, paying what they're paying regardless of the bans? If so, maybe the problem isn't as acute as it is in our office, and it just is. It's not.
Will they get
We're
applications on a
not really
position?
the same in the sense that they can hire people in most instances where we simply cannot. So it is different.
Yeah, and again, there's just a different job description. There's a different market out there. We didn't get complaints, probably so, but can they go out and put an advertisement in for a position and fill it for that?
And for the most part, they
So,
can. We
I don't-
showed you those
yeah.
numbers, and even in our own office, we can hire secretaries and things.
Yeah.
We open it up, we get 30 applications, good ones too. We need to pay them fairly, but it's not the same problem as losing attorneys that we simply can't replace. So it's just a more acute problem.
Yeah. Okay, Commissioner Bowles,
Well, I need to give it some more thought.
you what?
I need to give it some more thought.
Okay. All right,
And I might ask for some numbers on what that looks like in other departments. Some of the larger ones. Okay, just to consider.
Yeah.
But I'll let you know.
Okay, we can do that.
okay,
Thanks for your time.
Well,
Appreciate it. If
you
there's
may wanna
anything
talk
else
to-
we can give you,
Yeah,
please
you need
let us
something
know.
from us, more information.
no, I think we got all the information.
Is this in your email you sent in June?
I do have one question. So we've got a public hearing scheduled next week for another chief. So are we good? to
Another
add-
chief for these guys?
No, for another department
Oh,
that we talked
For the
about.
sheriff's
last week,
office.
For the sheriff's office. So I was going to include the two from the attorneys on that, so we just have to do one public hearing. So are we gonna, we have to get it posted tomorrow. So are we gonna, we move forward with that or push it back?
You might as well move forward with it.
I think you can post it.
why do we have to deal with the
without
sheriff now?
So this is one we talked about last week where we're increasing Chief Lavely.
Okay,
Because
this is
the-
just on labeling.
Yep, just on Lavely because of the hiring the captain, so his has to go to a public hearing. And so the two
Okay.
chiefs and the attorneys.
We've
did
talked,
well.
we've already been through that.
Yeah, last week.
Okay, well, I'm okay moving ahead with that then.
Okay,
At least getting it on the public hearing.
okay,
At least getting those two on the public hearing.
okay. Cause those are the only three that we have to put on the public hearing. The two attorneys and then the other chief, so. Okay. Okay,
Okay,
Thank you.
we'll
Thank
get you on
you.
another agenda. How's that?
Okay, thanks. Appreciate your time.
Thanks. And, oh, by the way, we may be looking at some alternatives to possibly keep you guys in the building.
Is that now?
Okay.
Is it,
Better.
That'll be easier.
for this one.
Yeah,
But, well, like I said, we'll try and be good sports and
Yeah, if they
do what we
don't-
can. to make
they don't have to pack and move somewhere else, just, taking a elevator ride down may ease the burden.
It'll be better for sure.
Yeah,
I think we'd like-
okay, well, we're seriously, if I can get one more vote, we may do that.
Okay.
This is usually when I hear about this. If I can get one more vote.
Well, good luck with
Thank
that.
you.
Okay, thanks, appreciate it.
Thanks.
Do you want this?
Motion to adjourn.
Second, all those in favor,
Aye.
appreciate it, thanks, guys.
Thanks.
We're adjourned.
We have an administrative meeting real